Whoa! Almost dropped the camera there. So it's time for another English language vlog. In the previous vlog in Icelandic, and if you understand Icelandic, you can check that out up here. I actually talked a little bit about geocaching. I'm going to do that again today, but before I focused on finding a geocache, today I'm going to talk about how to make your own. So this video is going to contain two sections. First section is going to be my step-by-step guide on how to make your own geocache, and section 2 is going to be the making of this particular cache, which I'm about to go and place right now in a place that I think is quite interesting. Okay, before I start talking about the steps, let me get one thing out of the way. I'm of course assuming that people that want to make caches have already found a few caches. They know geocaching, they get the gist of the game. So you don't have to do that. I mean, you can just go ahead and make them without ever having found them. But I would really recommend before starting this to, go out there and find some caches and see if you actually like this. With that out of the way, step number 1, I would say location. I would say when you start making a geocache, do that from a perspective of having a particular location in mind that you want to show people, that you want people to experience and to find and discover. If you're making the geocache just for the sake of making a geocache, I think it's gonna kind of show in the quality and enjoyment of the cache. So make sure your motivation is coming from the right place and sending people to the right place. Oh, that was nice, poetic. Number 2, go to geocaching.com and read through the guidelines. There are all kinds of things. I mean, you will need to make sure that your location is valid. You need to make sure that you can place things there. You need to make sure that it's within a certain distance from any other cache available, and so on and so forth. So, number 2, read through the guidelines. Number 3, designing your cache. Now there are some design considerations in the way that you need to categorize and write some metadata about your cache once you submit it to the geocaching.com site. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about designing and putting together the physical components. So the main component, most important, is a container, a weatherproof container, some sort of receptacle, a box or a jar or something that can actually withstand the elements. Inside that box you then place a logbook. That logbook, along with some sort of a writing instrument to write in the logbook, should be contained in a resealable bag, again to prove it from the elements. In that bag you should, I'm not sure if you have to, but I would say it's good sense to actually place a geocaching note. You can find those online easily. I'll put it in the description below. Print that note, put it in there as well. It tells, unsuspecting people that stumble upon your cache by mistake what's actually happening. They explain the game and show them where to go to get more information. These are the basics, and really it depends on the size of your cache what you put in it. If you're placing a medium-sized or larger cache, you want to place some knickknacks in there as well. Some items for people to find and trade in and out. So with your physical components assembled, it's time to really just put everything in the box, go to your location, hide the cache, save the coordinates, use an application on a GPS device to save your actual coordinates, go back to your computer and upload and submit that cache. That's all you need to do. Quite simple. I think it's even so simple you don't need a guide on it. And last but not least, maintenance. Like I mentioned in the beginning, it falls to you, the creator, to actually maintain your cache. So make sure you make repeated trips to your cache to make sure everything is okay, replace missing components, and so on and so forth. So I've already built my box. I chose one of those clear plastic containers, these Systema boxes. They're easily available here in Iceland. They're weather sealed and should withstand the elements quite nicely. I I decided to put a little extra effort in it, and I painted this kind of camouflage pattern on it to make sure it blended into the environment a little bit more. Then I put the logbook in there, I put a pen, and some, some general knickknacks. I have a golf ball and some figures and an old padlock. I have arrived on location. It's a place that I've really thought a lot about when geocaching, and I've really been surprised that there isn't already a cache here, to be honest. It's easily accessible. It has some natural beauty, some really majestic natural beauty, I feel. And it's actually just 200 meters off the road connecting Keflavik Airport and Keflavik town to Reykjavik. So it's something that should be quite easy for people traveling to and from the airport to make a stop by and check out this cache. It requires you to actually hike about 200 meters there and 200 meters back through these kind of trodden paths, but nothing too difficult, so it should be something that almost anybody can do. Again, I really like this place. It's called Virkishólar, I think. Let me see. Virkishólar. Yeah, it's called Virkishólar, Fortress Hills, and I'm looking at them right now. And these are these. I'll show you later. No worries. It's those really beautiful lava formations. Those kind of bubbles frozen in time, and then cracked open by, well, either by the actual cooling of the lava itself or by some geological events later on. I'm no geologist, so I have no idea, but they look nice. They sure look nice. And I think it's good to use the opportunity to mention the delicate nature of the moss and the vegetation here. So please, let's try to stay on the trodden path and not kind of disrupt the moss, for instance. I've come here quite a few times, and I think it's amazing that there's actually people coming, I think, right now, but there's almost never anybody here. But it's nice, and I think it's a very nice piece that kind of showcases the natural beauty of the Reykjanes Peninsula and all the different types of lava fields we have here. Yeah. To actually find the cache, you need to walk towards the two nearest bubbles, pass between them, and then you'll see the third one behind. Walk to a center location between those three bubbles. It's not a big location, it's like the size of a football field or so. And find the highest point of elevation. That shouldn't be too difficult. When you're there, at that highest point, you'll actually see a small natural depression very close by, just like 20-30 meters away. That small depression was actually used back in the day by sheep farmers to do some breeding exercises with the sheep, not the farmers. And the cache will be in that depression, hidden on the northern side, close to a small brush. And that's it, really. That's all there is to it, making a geocache. If you liked it, why not just put a like to the video? If you'd like to see more geocaching videos from me here in Iceland, then say so in the comments, please. I urge you to come and try to find the cache and leave your note in the logbook. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm actually gonna film myself really placing the cache. I already filmed myself really placing the cache, and I'll show you the spoiler here after the spoiler warning for anybody that actually needs an ultimate hint. Alright, until next time, take care.